My mother's family comes from a place in the Irish Sea called the Isle of Man, where Manx cats come from. Manx people are also called Manx, and I got recently asked, although I think I'm British or American, or maybe I'm Zimbabwean, I don't know exactly what I am. I'm not exactly Manx, but my grandfather was, and I recently got asked to submit to an anthology of Manx poets. Like there's an anthology coming out of 21st century Manx poets. I'm going to be in there. Isn't that cool? So I'm like my great-grandmother was a Manx poet. My great-aunt was a Manx poet. Now I'm a Manx poet. So this is a poem in the form of a pantoum about a rock that I once picked up and kept from the Isle of Man and my grandfather. I don't know if you know the pantoum. I can explain about it later if you'd like. It's about a place at the northwestern tip of the island, the very far northern tip of the island, which is called the Point of Ayre, A-Y-R-E, missing. I took a stone from the Point of Ayre, where shingle meets the Irish Sea. I cannot find it anywhere. I miss the way it felt to be where shingle meets the Irish Sea, the northern point of the Isle of Man. I miss the way it felt to me. That stone was perfect in my hand. The north half of the Isle of Man was my grandfather's home when young. His scalpel sat perfect in his hand, although the strokes had slowed his tongue. Once at grandfather's home, still young, I took stone from the Point of Ayre. It tasted salty on my tongue, but I cannot find it anywhere. I think this book is quite a bit darker than the first one, which might or might not appeal to you. Not to dwell too much on this point, but it's a very interesting last 5 years. I've had a lot of strangeness and transitions in my life over the last 5 years. So there's some dark stuff in it. Consumer warning, I guess. So this is a sort of a dark little poem, very short little four-liner called Gravity. Gravity. My daughter slipped beside a swimming pool. I watched her hit the tiles, fall in, go under. I walk her and her two black eyes to school. Our neighbors look from her to me and wonder. There's more darkness, a little sonnet. Unfortunately, this is a true story. The Doors. Now here's that rage again, unseen for 30 years. What's brought this on? There's little wrong. A meal uneaten, towels hung back up dirty. He's screaming at his only grandson, strong but struggling through some adolescent strife. What is he really shouting for? Despair at growing old? Frustration with his wife, his third, who's ill but can't quit smoking? There, now I'm 14 again. You little shit was always me, and not the brother whom in middle age I still avoid. A room can't hold one when the other enters it. My son and I pack up and go. We're damned. The doors are open, closed, then opened, slammed. Happier poem coming now. This is a sort of a hero poem, I guess. One of my true heroes in life is my Uncle Donald, who will be, and I have no doubt, I say with utter confidence, who will turn 95 in 2 months' time. He will outlive everyone in the room. He's going to outlive me. He's going to outlive everyone presently on Earth. He's just extraordinary. He's timeless. And this is a poem for him, which I tried to write for years and years before I finally got it. everything in this poem about his life is true, or at least he has persuaded me that it is true. I believe that everything in this poem is true. His name is Smith, Donald Smith. So the poem is called Mr. Smith, Serena Road, Santa Barbara, 2019. The fire comes over the peak just after dark. It's November, but they come more often now. He sees the orange glow from the parking lot of the restaurant where he has eaten Mondays for 50 years. It's his 91st birthday. At home, the TV is on for fire updates, but his eyes are on the hill. Last month, he scattered there the ashes of his wife. Their marriage was long, childless, and joyful. He watches her cremated again. The neighbors call between 9 and 12 in case he's asleep. They all want him to leave with them, should it come to that. Say, to drive through smoke to the home of their grown child he held when she was born. He preps an evac box. He starts with photographs. Himself, newborn on Easter Island. His fur trader pals in the Arctic Circle. His parents and brother, long ago, at home in Stornoway. Kathleen at the beginning and at the end. Next, her false teeth, because what the hell do you do with those when you can't bear to throw them away? Then a pocket knife he bought, demobbed in Inverness in 1946, that he sharpens twice a year. The barbering tools he mastered on the Alberta oil fields, packed away for decades now. A man needs a way to earn a living. You just never know. The space that's left, he fills with clocks and watches. His neighborhood, the garden where he spends his days, the house, they can't be saved when the flames come to town, this time or the next. But there are hours of comfort in the taking apart and putting together. Some keep good time, some don't. Okay? I've just been teaching, over at Cushing, I've just been teaching haiku to my students, and that's a form I play around with sometimes. So here's this very dark little haiku sequence, 3 poems that I call Nightmare Suite, and I swear this is absolutely true. I had these 3 nightmares on the same night. Woke up screaming 3 times. These 3 nightmares. So 3 nightmares presented as a haiku. They come with this epigraph, which is from a punk rock song from Ireland about 1979, I think. The Undertones, a song called See That Girl, had this line in it. They wake up screaming in the middle of something wrong. Nightmare Suite. 1. The desert tortoise, torn apart by children's hands, yielding eggs within. 2. I'm Cinderella, forced to clean, but all I touch turns into spiders. 3. My kids are threatened. I'm the hero, save the day. It isn't so. So that's fun. A little more darkness. This is a little poem called Snakes. It's about snakes. It's about snakes. Snakes. Remember how you swam to me? Your hair transformed to snakes and splashed me where I sat, with just my feet below the water, changed refracted into something pale and lithe, or how you coiled away, did not return, and disappeared. The smoky, pungent light inside that bar in Tortuguero, La Culebra, which the hotel called No Go. Do you recall that dream I never told to you that's haunted me for decades now? Ridiculous, but awful. One small snake is fed tail first into a sink's disposal. It shrieks as it is ground to blood and bone with a recognizably human voice. Endlings, title poem. You guys remember what endlings are? Good. Endlings. So, I was leaving a different school, the school I taught at in Las Vegas. I was just leaving. I happened to be the last one in the building and had this experience. Endlings. The last to leave for once, I failed to see the hawk until I felt its look of wry malevolence directed my way from the branch on which it perched. So close I might have touched its feathers with my arm. I held its gaze. It stared. Perhaps I overthink, ascribing hate to beak and eye, mere parts of bird. Consider this. I kept it briefly from its meal. I heard the calls of quail in bushes by my feet. And then the quail all scattered. The hawk whirred past my ear, and I walked to my car, alone in evening's half-light. I think I kind of want to say this poem for Logan and Desh. This book was almost entirely written in Las Vegas, and then revised here in Nashville, and mostly in Cushing, actually quite a bit in this room. But there's one poem in the book that's very much of Massachusetts, and it's very much of Cushing, and it's very much of Mountain Day. So it's Mountain Day 2 years ago. I hinted at this. Don't worry, I won't quote you. This is not a therapy session. But I came to Cushing in the midst of a lot of personal change, among other things, ending a marriage, moving across the country, and all that kind of stuff. That's it. That's the therapy part. So I was reflecting on all of that while messing around with poetry on Cushing Mountain Day, and came up with this. It's in the form of a villanelle, which is a hard form where lines kind of wrap around and repeat. And I tried to write a villanelle for years and never succeeded. And so I was really excited when I finished a villanelle and said to my students who were trying to write villanelles at my direction, "Look, you guys, I did one." So I finished a villanelle called Bivouac. And for anybody who doesn't know, Cushing Academy, where Logan and Desh and I work, does this weird thing once a year. We just did it last Thursday. Once a year, school is canceled, and the whole school gets in buses and goes to Monadnock Mountain and climbs to the top if they wish, don't wish, and just kind of enjoys the mountain and has a barbecue and a day off school. It's a 100+ year tradition, something like that. An age-old tradition. So a villanelle about Cushing Mountain Day, about a mountain in Massachusetts called Bivouac. I've climbed this far to cure myself of ills accumulated in the course of life. I find myself defeated by these hills that roll away from me as evening stills, and I seek respite from the long day's strife. I've climbed this far to cure myself of ills. I've tried all kinds of tinctures, tonics, pills for pain that aches or pierces like a knife. I find myself defeated by these hills. The body is no servant of the wills. My shoes are far below, as is my wife. I've climbed this far to cure myself of ills. The thing we know is that the journey kills, and every lovely step is danger rife. I find myself defeated by these hills. The Massachusetts mountain vista thrills. Mist wisps, a distant, fictive sound of fife. I've climbed this far to cure myself of ills, but find myself defeated by these ills. A couple more from the new book, and then just two new ones to finish up. Gosh, I'll say this one. Maybe for Logan and Dash again, because I think everybody else in the room's heard this one and close to it. This is a poem called Johnny Mathis, Me and You. It's a kind of a strange little love poem, I think. Johnny Mathis, Logan, was a singer a long time ago. He's still going. You know who Johnny Mathis is? No? Okay, look. Logan represents the youth movement in the room. Johnny Mathis was a great singer of the 50s and 60s whose signature song was called Chances Are. He had others, but that was a big one. A little bit of poem references.
I know, so I guess I'm not the youth.
You what?
I know, so I guess I'm not the youth.
You're like 3 months younger than me. We established that once. You look a lot better though, but then I don't have my glasses on. Johnny Mathis, Me and You. When I was very, very young, I heard somewhere that one man's voice could make a bra clasp come apart, regardless of which song he'd sung, like neither party had a choice. And though I could not understand the motive for the magic trick, it was easy to admire the art of working vocal sleight of hand to make a thing held fast unclick. A few years later, it was clear what riches such a skill might bring. And though I fumbled from the start, I hold some moments very dear. I learned back then I could not sing, but your voice left me feeling high that time I heard you in a bar. You sang your own song, Perfect Tart. You've had my love since then. Here's why. I'm happiest when where you are. And we've been friends for decades now. Through marriages, through downs and ups. We've both made choices less than smart. We've asked each other when and how and drunk from one another's cups. And I have sought for years a way to charm you from your clothes with verse. I'm still the ass behind that cart. Two ironies. That singer's gay. My poems go from sad to worse. Once this was going to be the rhyme to make you come to me at last. But I've no hex for bra or heart. No, I've got only words and time. Today, tomorrow, and the past. All we've ever really had. Just time and lines you've never seen. Trite doggerel about love's dart. I warned you, I have got it bad. And chances are, what does that mean?